Chapter 31. How they went to church. My coat of mail groweth cold, said Folker. I ween the night hath run its course. By the air I mark that day is near. Then they walked the many knights who still lay sleeping. The light of dawn shone into the hall upon the strangers. On all sides Hagen gan wake the warriors, if perchance they would fain go to the minster for mass. Men now laidly rang the bells in Christian fashion. Heathens and Christians did not sing alike, so that it was seen full well that they were not as one. Gundar's liegemen now would go to church, and all alike had risen from their beds. The champions laced them into such goodly garments that never did hero bring better clothes to the land of any king. This vexed Hagen. He spake, Heroes, ye should wear here other clothes. Search ye know full well the tales. Instead of roses, bear weapons in your hands. Instead of jeweled chaplets, your bright helms. And good, sith ye know full well the wicked Kriemhild's mood. Let me tell you, we must fight today. So instead of silken shirts, wear hauberks, and instead of rich cloaks, good shields and broad, so that if any grow angry with you, ye be full armed. Dear my lords, and all my kin and liegemen, go willingly to church, and make plaint to the mighty God of your fears and need. For know well, full sure, that death draweth nigh us. Nor must ye forget to confess aught that ye have done, and stand full zealously before your God. Of this I warn you, noble knights, unless God in heaven so will, you'll never more hear mass. So the princes and their liegemen went to the minster. In the holy churchyard both Hagen bade them halt, that they might not be parted. He spake, Of a truth none knoweth what will hap to us from the Huns. Peace, my friends, your shields before your feet, and if any proffer you cold greeting, repay it with deep and mortal wounds. That is Hagen's counsel, that ye may be so found as doth befit your honour. Folker and Hagen, the twain, then hied them to the spacious minster. This was done that the queen might press upon them in the crowd. Certes she was passing grim. Then came the lord of the land and his fair wife, her body adorned with rich apparel. Doughty warriors too had seen to walk beside her. One saw the dust rise high from Kriemhild's band. When mighty Etzel spied the kings and their fellowship thus armed, how quick he spake. Why do ye see my friends thus go with helmets? Upon my troth it giveth me, and hath any done them aught, I shall gladly make amends, as doth think them good. Hath any made heavy their hearts or mood? I'll show them well that it doth irk me much. I am ready for whatever thy command me. To this Hagen answered, None hath done us aught. It is the custom of my lordings that they go armed to all high feasts for full 3 days. Ye should tell Etzel had aught been done us. Kriemhild told full well what Hagen spake, how right hostily she gazed into his eyes. She would not tell the custom of their land. I'll bet she had known it long in Burgundy. However grim and strong the hate she bare them, yet had any told Etzel the truth, he would have surely hindered what later happed. Because of their great haughtiness they scorned to tell him. When the great crowd went past with the queen, these twain, Hagen and Folker, would not step back more than 2 handbreadths. This which irked the Huns. Forsooth they had to jostle with lusty heroes. This thought King Etzel's chamberlains not good. Certes they would have fain angered the champions, but they durst not before the noble king. So there was much jostling, but nothing more. When they had worshipped their god and would hence again, many a Hunnish warrior hosed him passing soon. At Kriemhild's side stood many a comely maid, and well 7,000 knights rode with the queen. Kriemhild with her ladies sat her down to the easement by the side of the mighty Etzel, which was him lief, for they would watch the lusty heroes joust. Oh, what stranger knights rode before them in the court! Then was come the marshal with the squires. Bold Dankwart had taken to him his lord's retainer from the Burgund land. The steeds of the Nibelungs they found well saddled, and now the kings and the men's were come to horse. Stalwart Folker again advised that they should ride a joust after the fashion of the land. At this the heroes rode in lordly wise, and none had irked what the knight had counselled. The hurtling and the noise waxed loud, as the men rode into the broad court. Etzel and Kriemhild themselves beheld the scene. To the joust were come 600 knights of Dietrich's men, to match the strangers, for they would have pastime with the Burgundians. Fain would they have done it, had he given them leave. Oh, what good champions rode in their train! The tale was told to Sir Dietrich, and he forbade the game with Gunther's men. He feared for all his liegemen, and well he might. When those of Bern had departed thence, there came the men of Rudiger from Bechlaren, 500 strong, with shields, riding out before the hall. It would have been life to the Margrave had they left it undone. Wisely he rode them through the pass, and said to this his knights, that they ware that Gunther's men were evil-minded toward them. If they would leave off the jousting, it would please him much. When none these lusty heroes parted from them, they came those of Thurniga, as we are told, and well 1,000 brave men from Denmark. From the tilting, one saw many truncheons flying hence. Infrid and Harwart now rode in the tourney. Proudly those from the Rhine waited them, and offered the men of Thuringia many a joust. Many a lordly shield was riddled by the thrusts. Thither came when Sir Blodel and 3,000 men. Well was he seen of Etzel and Grimhild, for the knightly sports happed just before the twain. The queen sought gladly that the Burgundians might come to grief. Scruton and Gibbek, Ramong and Hornbog, rode into the tourney in Hunnish wise, and to the heroes from Burgundia land they addressed them. High above the roof of the royal hall the spear shafts whirled. Whatever any there plied, 'twas but a friendly rout. Palace and hall were heard resounding loud through clashing of shields of Gunther's men. With great honour his miney gained the need. Their pastime was so mickle and so great, that from beneath the housings of the good steeds which the horses rode, they flowed with frothy sweat, in haughty wise they encountered with the Huns. Then spake the fiddler, Folker the minstrel, I ween these warriors dare not match us. I have great heard the tale, that they bear us hate, and forsooth it might never fortune better for them than now. Again Folker spake, Let our steeds be now led away to their lodgings, and let us joust again toward eventide, and there be time, perchance, the queen may accord to the Burgundians the prize. Then one was seen riding hither so proudly, that none of all the Huns could have done the like. Certes he must have had a sweetheart in the battlements, as well attired he rode as the bride of any noble knight. At sight of him Folker spoke again, How could I give this over? This lady's darling must have a buffet. None shall prevent me, and it shall cost him dear. In truth I reck not, if it vex King Etzel's wife. For my sake, no, spake straightway King Gunther. The people will blame us, if we encounter them. 'Twill befit us better far, and we let the Huns begin the strife. King Etzel was still sitting by the queen. I join you in the tourney, quoth Hagen then. Let the ladies and the knights beheld now how we ride. That will be well, for they will give no need to King Gunther's men. The doughty Folker rode into the lists again, which soon gave many a dame great dole. His spear he thrust through the body of the dapper Hun. This both maid and wife were seen therefore to bewail. Full hard and fast gain Hagen and his liegemen, and 60 of his knights ride towards the fiddler, where the play was on. This Etzel and Grimhild clearly saw. The three things would not leave their minstrel without guard amidst the foe. Cunning 1,000 heroes rode, with haughty hearing they did whatso they would. When now the wealthy Hun was slain, men heard his kin cry out and wail, and all the courtiers asked, Who hath done this deed? That the fiddler did, Folker, the valiant minstrel. The Margrave's kindred from the Hunnish land called straightway for swords and shields, and would fain have done Folker to death. Fast and hosts gain hastened from the windows. Great rout rose from the folk on every side. The king and their fellowship, the Burgundian men, alighted before the hall, and drove their horses to the rear. Then King Etzel came to part the strife, and from the hand of a kinsman of the Hun he wrenched a sturdy weapon, and drove them all back again, for full great was his wrath. Why should my courtesy to these knights go all for naught? Had ye slain this minstrel at my court, spake King Etzel, 'twere evil done. I saw full well how he rode, when he thrust through the Hun, that it happed through stumbling, without any fault. Ye must let my guests have peace. Thus he became their safeguard. To the stalls men laid away their steeds, and many a varlet they had, who served them well with zeal in every service. The hosts now hied him to his palace with his friends, nor would he let any man grow wroth again. Then men set up the tables, and bare forth water for their guests. Forsooth the men from the Rhine had there enow of stalwart foes. 'Twas long before the lords were seated. Meanwhile Grimhild's fear did trouble her passing sore. She spake, My lord of Bern, I seek thou counsel, help and favour, for mine affairs do stand in anxious wise. Then Hildebrand, a worshipful knight, made answer to her, "An any slay the Nibelungs for the sake of any horde, he will do it without my aid. It may well repent him, for they be well still unconquered, these doughty and lusty knights." Then spake Sir Dietrich in his courteous wise, "Let be this wish, O mighty queen. Thy kinsmen have done me naught of wrong, that I should crave to match these valiant knights in strife. They request honoureth thee little, most noble queen, and thou dost plot against the life of thy own kinsfolk. They come in hope of friendship to this land. Siegfried will not be avenged by Dietrich's hand." When she found no whit of faithlessness in the Lord of Bern, quickly she promised Blode a broad estate that Nudung owned aforetime. Later he was slain by Hagen, so that he quite forgot the gift. She spake, "Thou must help me, Sir Blodel. Forsooth my foes be in this house, who slew Siegfried, my dear husband. Ever will I serve him, that helpeth me avenge his deed." To this Blodel replied, "My lady, now may ye know that because of Etzel I dare not, in sooth, advise the hatred against them, for he is fain to see thy kinsman at his court. The king would ne'er forget it of me, and I did him aught of wrong." "Not sir," Sir Blodel, "for I shall ever be thy friend. Certes, I'll give thee silver and gold as good and comely maid, the wife of Nidung, whose lovely body thou must fain caress. I'll give thee his lands, and his castle, too, so that thou must always live in joy, Sir Knight, if thou dost now win the lands where Nidung dwelt. Faithfully will I keep whatso I vow to thee today." When Sir Bludel heard the guerdon, and that the lady through her beauty would befit him well, he win to serve the lovely queen in strife. Because of this the champion must needs lose his life. To the queen he spake, "Betake you again to the hall, and before any be aware, I'll begin a fray, and Hagen must atone for what he hath done you. I'll deliver to you King Gunther's liegeman bond. Now arm you, my queen," spoke Blodel. "Ye must hasten to the lodgings of the foes, for King Etzel's wife doth crave for me this service, wherefore we heroes must risk our lives." Then the queen left Blodel and lustful of battle. She went to table with King Etzel and his men, and evil counsels that she held against the guests. Since the strife could be started in no other wise, Kriemhild's ancient wrong still lay deep buried in her heart. She bade King Etzel's son be brought to the table. How might a woman ever do more ghastly deed for vengeance' sake? 4 of Etzel's men went hence and on, and bare Utlib, the young prince, to the lordling's table, where Hagen also sat. Because of this the child must needs die through Hagen's mortal hate. When now the mighty king beheld his son, kindly he spake to kinsmen of his wife. "Now see, my friends, this is the only son of me and of your sister. This may be a profit to you all, for if he take after his kinsman he'll become a valiant man, mighty and noble, strong and fashioned fair. 12 lands will I give him, and I live yet a while. Thus may the hand of young Otlib serve you well. I do therefore beseech you, dear friends of mine, that when ye ride again to your lands upon the Rhine, ye take with you your sister's son, and act full graciously toward the child. Bring him up in honor till he become a man. Hath any done you aught in all these lands, he'll help you to avenge it when he groweth up." This speech was also heard by Kriemhild, King Etzel's wife. "These knights might well trust him," quoth Hagen, "if he grew to be a man, but the young prince doth seem so fey, that I shall seldom be seen to ride to Utlib's court." The king glanced at Hagen, for much the speech did irk him, and though the gentle prince said not a word, it grieved his heart and made him heavy for his mood. Nor was Hagen's mind now bent on pastime, but all the lordlings and the king were hurt by what Hagen had spoken of the child. It vexed him sore that they were forced to hear it. They wot not the things as yet which should happen to them through this warrior.